Hello and welcome to Drive a Double Feature Podcast. I'm Nathan,
I'm Ryan.
and this is the podcast where we talk about two movies a week every Tuesday and Thursday. But before we get into today's movie, head over to patreon.com/Drive a Double Feature Podcast. You get fun games, conversations over there just for $5 a month. You help support us. You get fun content, but don't worry, no main show content is locked behind that Patreon. So you don't have to pay up to hear any of these for now. But let's get into today's movie. We're talking about Dahmer from 2002. It's a movie about Jeffrey Dahmer. This movie, this poster's kind of stuck out to me. It's been on my watch list for a while. Jeremy Renner playing Jeffrey Dahmer. Sign me up. That sounds like it could be really funny or maybe good. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, that's my knowledge. I didn't know much else about it. But what about you, Ryan? You ever hear about this one?
No, I mean I've heard of other Dahmer movies. I've never heard
Yeah,
of this Dahmer movie.
yeah.
I wonder though, like when Jeremy Renner took this role, like do you think like when he's like in the middle of a scene, he's thinking like, man, I'd love to tell people about me being in this movie with all my Jeremy Renner news. If only
Uh,
if apps were invented now, I could tell them about
yeah,
it.
that's what he was thinking. He was like,
Uh,
if only the technology was out there to sell myself. Yeah, which is interesting to think that he thinks so highly of himself. What else was he in at this point? I mean, he's in this movie, which is obviously an extremely low budget movie. Oh yeah. So I'm looking at his filmography. Everything is no Wikipedia link except for National Lampoon's Senior Trip, where he plays Dags.
I
Uh,
remember that movie. He plays like the stoner character.
that was his first ever role. First ever role, at least in
Yeah.
a movie. But after this, things went up for him. And he would actually, because of this movie, he would get hired for Hurt Locker. Catherine Bigelow watched this and liked him so much and put him in Hurt Locker.
So like there was like a 6 year gap where she was just like she went back like because Hurt Locker came out in 2008. So do you think like she
Nine even. Oh no, eight. You're right. You're
eight? It
right.
was eight.
Yeah.
Don't tell me I
Sorry.
don't know my Hurt Locker.
I'm thinking about 2009 Oscars. That's the way because I whatever because that
But
whatever.
yeah, you think like so you think like she was watching this like in 2007 and she's just like, "Oh my God."
No, she just doesn't want to admit that she saw him in 28 Weeks Later and was like, "Wow, he's so good in that." Or SWAT. She was such a big fan of SWAT.
Now I remember him in SWAT and
I
like
don't watch it.
because he was like one of the main bad guys in that one where he was like well, sorry for your SWAT spoilers, Nathan. I'm sorry,
I don't care.
but he was one of the people that like did like he turned on his SWAT people because they were the big drug lord would offered him money and he turned on all of them.
Wow, Ryan, I don't know. You're sounding like a Ren head. You're sounding like a
Like,
Ren freak. What the
well,
hell?
I watched him in North Country.
North Country?
Yeah, the Francis McDormand coal mining movie
I don't even, I've actually never heard of this.
with Charlize Theron. Yeah,
I'm clicking on it so I can learn about it. When was this?
2005.
2005. Oh, I've seen this poster. I didn't know he was in this movie.
Hmm.
Sissy Spacek. How have I never seen it? But
Well,
any
how could you not?
right. But anyway, this movie is about the famous serial killer. Which this would be more timed better during that mini series that everybody was watching. I didn't watch it. I don't think I've ever watched any Jeffrey Dahmer movie or anything.
Well, I remember. So there was that one movie called My Friend Dahmer,
Hmm. I was
and that
interested in
was
that one.
I didn't see that one, but I know it's more about like pre-serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer
Hmm.
and like how what a weirdo he was. And then there was also the miniseries, like you said, like the limited TV series run that Ryan Murphy did, the guy who did
Yeah.
Glee and American Horror Story and all those. And I remember when that came out, there was some controversy at that time surrounding it because everyone thought it was like it glamorized like Jeffrey Dahmer a little too much, made him like a sympathetic character, or like tried what they could to make him likable maybe.
Yeah, yeah, I think it fell into maybe a trap. But I mean, that's kind of what's going on with true crime or has been going on. Serial killers and people like that tend to get like glamorized and people almost idolize them. And I feel like to make a mini series about a serial killer, it's it's
Hmm.
it's hard to make it where it's like I hate this person for like what 9 hours to watch it.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's okay. Dahmer is the complete opposite of that. They do not paint Dahmer as a good person. They do not paint him as sympathetic. They do not go over why he really got to this point. Like, I feel like some movies would fall into like this thing of like showing their younger years and what built up to that. Um, this movie decides to not tell you really any of that.
Yeah.
Now, do I think that makes I don't know if that makes it any better though. But I honestly, if there's one thing about this movie that I didn't love, I don't know what its point was, what point it was really trying to make. Especially when you get to the end of it, it's an odd
But
movie.
the ending I did not like at all, because
Mhm.
for me it's a little stupid, I kind of
Yeah.
thought, where it was, because jumping way, way, way ahead at the very end of
Mhm.
the movie, because the story is very disjointed. It has a lot of flashbacks. It keeps jumping back and forth over and over
Yeah.
again. So sometimes it could be a little hard to tell, like, when is it the present versus when is it the past sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, but there's a scene though where Jeffrey Dahmer's dad like
Mhm.
takes him. He's like, "You need to go to therapy, son." And it's like, "I'm dropping you off here. You better go to therapy." And he's like, "Okay, dad." And then his dad drives off, and he just like walks into the woods.
Yeah.
It's like, if only he had gone to that one therapy session, he would have been cured.
Yeah,
But
exactly. Which is such a, I feel like it's such a bad like way way to put it. If only his dad had actually walked him up to the office. Played by Willard, by the way.
Bruce Davison.
Yep. Yeah, which I think is such a like I don't know, kind of a rough ending. There are some good parts here, but I do think the movie's structure is a bit confusing. Like I could follow it, but I think it overly uses flashback and it kind of kills it.
Yeah,
Um,
because it'll be like one scene where it's like going to like Jeffrey Dahmer's like first kill,
mhm.
and it shows him like hanging out with this one dude, and they're starting to get along and that type of thing. They're acting really friendly towards each other, and then they'll jump back to the present, and they'll go back to the past, and it's like they're really, then like kind of
Mhm.
like their interaction is kind of turning in a different direction,
Yeah.
and then they'll jump back and then go back to the past where he kills him.
Yeah, because that's like the framing. This movie's framed around one night, kind of, where Jeffrey Dahmer does pick up a gay black dude and brings him back to his apartment, and that seems to be the main through point is going through that whole night, where because this guy actually seems to be almost very competitive against Jeffrey Dahmer, kind of questioning why he's doing this. Like, are you actually attracted to me? Is it like repression, all that? So there's a bit of a fight there. And then everything else around it. I guess I should also say, if you don't know Jeffrey Dahmer, uh, serial killer killed a bunch of dudes, ate them, but also tried to make them like zombies. I guess would be I think he called it like living zombies, where like he would try to melt their brain with like acid or something, and like keep them like halfway alive. Really horrible, horrible, sick stuff. So yeah, that's who we have to watch. But there's some scenes that I can really pick out and be like, oh, that's actually kind of tense. There's one scene where he's living with his grandma and he has the head of the dead guy that you talked about, the guy that he the friend, his first kill. I believe that's supposed to be who that is, even though that scene happens before you see that guy die, which is a little confusing.
Right.
But like, so there's a box in the closet, and his dad's like, "Hey, that's my old chemistry set. I gotta take a look at that." And Jeremy Renner's like, "No, no, 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 don't you don't have to look at that, Dad. but it's like it goes on for so long of him being like, please, no, don't look at it.
So, I mean, I guess he do that scene too. I thought it was so, I did think, I mean, despite knowing who Jeffrey Dahmer is, and obviously there was
Mhm.
something really bad in that box, that dad was so adamant, like, I want to see what's in this box. It's just like,
Yeah, like he almost knew what there was a head in the box. I mean, like I guess he just wanted to know, but like Jeremy Renner confessed, and I think it was a pretty easy confession where he's like, no, I think there's pornographic material in that box, Dad. And I feel like, and then even then the dad's still like, can I see? Can I see it? Can I get proof of that? Like, okay, what words? Because I'd like to think no parent would think like, oh, there's like a dead body hidden in this thing. That's usually not the first thing people leap to.
oh yeah, and there's I mean, I guess he did have reason to believe because he was already acting kind of weird, and like
Yeah.
he was trying to take him to therapy, because there was the scene before that. Well, it's the same scene, but like before that,
Hmm.
he's like, "Son, why do you have a mannequin like in your closet?" Just
It's like half
it's like
dressed with only jeans on.
yeah, he's like, I just stole it for fun, Dad. It's just
That was a pretty good
and he's just
impression,
like, well,
actually.
and he's like, okay, well, can we take it back like today? Like, can we drive? Like, can we go today and take it back on the
Yeah.
way to church?
Yeah, I've never heard of that. Where like you'd be like, "Oh, I stole a mannequin for fun." Okay, we're gonna take the mannequin back to the store. What?
Mhm.
I actually don't get that at all. Um, but yeah, you're right. He's like so adamant about today. But even Jeremy Renner, sorry, I should say Jeffrey Dahmer, like pushes his grandma out of the way to hide this thing.
Yeah,
Um,
she's like, Jeffrey, you're hurting me.
so how did you feel about Jeremy Renner as Jeffrey Dahmer? I call me crazy. I liked him. I thought he was good in this movie. I thought he played it well.
I enjoyed it. Yeah, I thought he did very good.
Yeah.
I can definitely see why, like a director would see this role and think like, oh yeah, he's actually a really good actor. So,
Hmm.
um, I, because he wasn't like over the top or anything like that. He
No.
wasn't like this. He was very, like he had, you could definitely sense that he had this like these very malintentions
Hmm.
about him, because there's a scene too, like I remember, where him and that other guy are talking in his apartment. And, he's kind of just going on and on about his life, and he would say something, and then Jeffrey just like, oh yeah, he's like, okay, Jeffrey, like I know, like there's got to be like a two-way thing here to
Hmm.
have yeah, to have a conversation,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, because he's well, it almost frames it like Jeffrey Dahmer is having these flashbacks the whole time. That's what he's thinking about is flashing back to all of these moments.
hmm
Yeah. So it's like he's almost distant. Yeah, because that kind of happens earlier where he's waiting for him outside a gay club, and you get like this whole you get this whole sequence, like, and it lasts forever of him drugging men and having sex with them over like horrifying music. The music in this movie is so out there, noisy, weird. And that's a long sequence. And it gets to the point where he's literally putting drugs in people's alcohol just in the middle of the dance floor and he gets caught.
well, oh yeah, because before he was doing it very discreetly. And I guess like he just didn't care at a certain point, because it was just like
Mhm.
right in the middle of the dance floor. He's just, you could see him was just like dumping a drug into somebody's drink, and like the bouncer or the owner was just like, "Hey, what the hell? Like get out of here."
Exactly. So you get this whole long backstory, and that actually has a pretty. It's a common trope, but I liked it where like it goes on for so long, and you can tell because the beginning is more disco songs, and then by the end of it, you're hearing more '80s songs. So it kind of like shows you how much time had passed of him doing it. Um, but yeah, you kind of get this like back and forth between him and this other dude he has in his apartment.
Rodney,
Thank you,
I had to
Rodney.
look.
And kind of like they get closer and closer. but Jeffrey always like amps it up and takes it like to a weird level, right? Like at one point he knocks him down and is kind of like holding him down at one point, and Jeffrey's like, "I was just playing with you. We were just playing," and he's just like, "No, that's not okay. That's not didn't feel
And
like playing to me."
well, because he had already drugged him, and he was just like, and then Rodney was basically just like, I don't feel good, like I want to leave,
Hmm.
and then he handcuffs him. He's got like a handcuff on him. He's basically just uh, he's like, Jeffrey, I don't think I'm into this sort of thing like right now. Like I need to work
Hmm.
up to this thing, and then he starts to leave, like you said, and he holds him down, and after he finally lets him up and leaves. And the thing that drives me nuts is just he comes back.
Yeah,
Like,
that was a little bizarre, and that must be maybe not must be, but I guess that's based on some truth. I'd hope, because that's such a like a leap that this guy would like come back after all that weirdness, getting handcuffed. He's like, the bus station's closed. Can I come in? And he gets convinced to stay the night with Jeffrey.
yeah, I mean it is based off of one of his encounters.
Hmm.
And that might be the one that was able to get away, because the one we do see one of Jeffrey's earlier kills when
Yeah.
he takes
Yeah.
this Asian younger man to
Hmm.
his apartment, and he's able to like seduce him, be like, oh, come back to my house, and I'll take some pictures of you, type of thing. And
Hmm.
he's able to drug him, and he drills his brain a little bit, but he's able to like run off, and people are just basically, oh, like, what's wrong with you? And he's trying to ask for help, and then Jeffrey appears out of nowhere, just being like, oh, it's okay, officer. Me and my friend have just been drinking. I'm gonna take him back home. Don't worry. And
Yeah, and this guy's like brain dead, like he can barely talk, and they're sitting on the couch, and the cops are there, and the cops are like, "Well, you know what? Just lay off the drinking." They seem more focused on the actual relationship part of it, more than anything. It was more like, you boys, you need to stop what you're doing, kind of deal, more than anything else. And also, it's two young black women that are like telling the police, like, "Hey, no, this guy's in trouble. He told me." And the cops, of course, are like, "No, no, it's fine. Stop. This isn't your fight. Just get out of here," kind of deal. So
exactly.
it kind of shows like how everybody was a little inept in that situation, letting this
Well,
happen, especially
I
when he was so close to getting caught.
well, he almost gets caught multiple times, because there's a scene where he's
Mhm.
got like the first victim like all chopped up in these garbage bags in the car, and he's doing it like in the middle of the night, and like the police pull him over, and it's like, son, what are you doing? It's 3 in the morning. He's like, oh, I was just gonna jump off these garbage bags and just and he's like, yeah, but it's 3 a.m. He's like, I can't sleep, I just
I needed to trim my
and
lawn.
he was like, well, what, just go back home and just sleep it off. How about that? He's like, yeah, sure, officer. Just
It's so like it's crazy because like if this wasn't based off a true story, that's like comedic. But no, of course this is like it's something
yeah,
that
he just gets away with
happens.
it like each time. Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah. And so it's a lot of moments like that, flashing back, going forward. Some weirder scenes, like there's a scene where he kind of chops up the Asian dude, and just like it's almost like it's riding this weird line of trying to be like
What did
almost a horror
I don't
movie. Doesn't he
I
cut
know he
open
doesn't
his
chop up the
stomach?
does he do that to the I thought he chopped up the first guy,
Yeah, there's
but I
some.
thought like what because like the Asian guy, I thought like he basically like had him as like he kept his corpse in the bedroom
Yeah, sorry.
and was doing things with it, and then Rodney came back over and he was like, uh-oh.
Yeah, there's like a scene where he cuts open his stomach or something, unless I'm misremembering that. Um, but yeah, he's just laying on the bed, and they are about to go sleep in the bed together. And Jeffrey Dahmer is like, "Oh no, the dead body's right there." Um, but yeah, so we get that whole therapy scene and everything. So I honestly, I'd say the whole movie, I think it's a mixed bag. I think there's a lot of things that that I took out of it that I enjoyed, like Jeremy Renner's performance, but maybe it was just
Yeah.
maybe it's just a bit too messy. I feel like some of it just could have been put together a little better.
I I enjoyed the performances. There was some generally gripping scenes that I
Yeah.
thought where I was very invested in.
Hmm.
Um, I was not a big fan of how the story was laid out and just how it was
Hmm.
felt a little disjointed, going back and forth
Hmm.
type of thing. I mean, I thought it would have maybe benefited from a little more linear storytelling, but I can kind of see what they were trying to go for, but I wasn't a fan of the execution of it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's definitely a performance movie, but honestly, better than I expected. Looking at the poster and everything, I thought this one was going to be pretty bad, but it actually wasn't that bad. I think there was an admirable try. So,
Yeah, I mean, nothing in here horrible. Overall it was a pretty decent movie, I thought.
yeah, so that's why I would give it a light recommend overall.
Yeah, totally agree with that.
Yeah, but Ryan, I think that wraps it up. So what are we covering on Thursday?
Well, Nathan, this Thursday, don't log off.
You already tell me that to do every time we stop recording.
I'm going to tell you again on Thursday because we're talking about the movie Don't Log Off, which is free on Tubi.
Awesome. Well, you know I'm excited for that one. But if you want to email us, you can email us at drivingdoublefeaturepodcast@gmail.com. Be sure to check us out on YouTube, Amazon Music. That's our biggest one. So thank you guys, all our Amazon Music listeners. We really appreciate your time, but of course we appreciate everyone else as well. But until next time.
Until next time.